What's up, SNA fans? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another video, and this is episode 154 of the SNA podcast. And this is the Wrestling News Part 56, where I'm going to be talking about the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know from the Wrestling Inc. article. I on December 2nd, 2023. Starting off with Tony Khan news, a hint that Bryan Danielson's last match could happen at major 2024 AEW pay-per-view. Bryan Danielson has declared his next year in AEW will be the last of his over 2 decades of full-time wrestling. He is widely regarded as one of the world's best grapplers and has served a pivotal role on the roster since his 2021 debut. But Tony Khan himself teased the all in event in August 2024 as one of, if not the last time, fans can see the American Dragon in an AEW ring. He said, Brian and I made an agreement 3 years to the week before AEW All In 2024. Khan told the Athletic. The agreement was Bryan would wrestle full-time for 3 years. Khan added that he spent the years then calling for Danielson to stay, but he will continue with AEW. In spirit and make sporadic appearances for the promotion even after his full-time retirement. Khan closed by definitely saying Danielson's full-time run will end in 2024. Danielson took to the X social media platform yesterday to promote All In, writing that it may be the last match he has to wrestle in the UK altogether. And there's the post right here. And with All In still months away, Danielson has a clash with Eddie Kingston on tonight's AEW Rampage as he embarks on his journey in the Continental Classic round robin tournament. Danielson stood with Khan as the tournament was announced, like being the first wrestler confirmed and seed in the blue ribbon, and I mean that the blue league. Kingston entered the tournament as the Ring of Honor World and NJPW Strong Openweight Champion, uh, putting the belts on the line in the tournament to establish a triple crown grand prize in the for both in the New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor, and AEW Continental Championship titles. For the winner, the American Dragon has emerged um, recently as the betting favorite to win the tournament. And who do you think's gonna win? Like I said plenty of times, y'all let me know down in the comments below. For, the Continental Classic tournament, and they said Brian Danielson's the favorite, but Eddie Kingston had him defending like in the tournament with the New Japan Strong Openweight and the Ring of Honor World Championship, along with the AEW Continental Classic Championship, which is going to be like a Triple Crown 3 promotional championship. Which I said Eddie Kingston's like the third favorite on my prediction, but that doesn't mean Brian Danielson's the favorite because mostly everybody's predicting that the American Dragon's going to win it all. And what do you think? And also, what do you think about Brian Danielson hanging up either hanging up the boots or retire full timely? Like I'll say, or or retire full time in a full time base, like in the summer of 2024, like anytime, like after All In, even. Y'all let me know in the comments down below. We move on next to backstage update on possibility of CM Punk versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in a WWE Dream match. CM Punk would be would be dream match in WWE with Stone Cold Steve Austin when has been the topic of speculation over the past decade. Reports emerged recently, like saying WWE was hopeful that the match would finally be possible. After CM Punk's surprise return at Survivor Series, as well as Austin's return in the ring at WrestleMania 38 in 2022. However, Dave Meltzer has since reported during the Wrestling Observer Radio that WrestlingNews.co that it was communicated to him, like not to overly consider the possibility. He said that of now, Austin hasn't been approached with the idea, though that's not to say he won't be in and he has by no means agreed to another match. Uh, Steve Austin faced Kevin Owens in no holds barred bout at WrestleMania 38. It it was the first time he had wrestled a match in 19 years. After retiring following WrestleMania 19 showdown with The Rock, Austin and Punk's dream match was teased in several interactions during the latter's uh, latter's first run with the company, including including in the WWE All-Star video game. Aus- Austin wouldn't Austin wouldn't return to the ring before Punk departed WWE in 2014, eventually returning to wrestling himself in 2021 with AEW. Punk returned to WWE also 3 months a- after he was fired by AEW for because earlier this year. While while it un, while it's unknown whether Punk and Austin will face on another, the second City Saint is at least penciled in for a feud with Seth Rollins, and WWE reportedly planning an eventual feud with Roman Reigns as well. And what do you think about CM Punk facing Stone Cold Steve Austin in a dream match, like or in a dream match in the near future? Sound off in the comments. For me, I would hope it will happen because they've been teasing it for the past dozen years, and they really need to get the match done sooner rather than later. Like before it's too late for either man. Next up, we got Drew McIntyre response to being left off poster for WWE Royal Rumble 2024. A little over 3 years ago, Drew McIntyre defeated Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania and seemed primed to carry the torch for WWE. Entering 2024, Drew McIntyre has been shunned in favor of 2022 other superstars on the poster for the upcoming Royal Rumble. The snub didn't didn't go unnoticed on social media, with many criticizing WWE for leaving out the 2020 Royal Rumble winner from the poster. McIntyre himself shared his thoughts via X, writing, starting to understand my frustration now. And yeah, I would agree with the Scottish Warrior for this. Here's the Here's a post on Twitter or formerly known as Twitter, now on X. If you need more time, we'll give you 10 more seconds. If you need more extra time, I would recommend you guys pausing the video. It says, needless to say, to the post intensify needless to say, to the post intensifies rumors of the Scottish Warrior leaving the WWE when his contract expires in April 2024. According to PW Insider, McIntyre and WWE have yet to emerge. WWE has yet to engage in deep discussion regarding a contract extension. In the report, noted that the veteran wrestler is more than willing to let his current deal lapse, so he could take a break to be with family after the recent death of his wife's sister. As such, it's in the realm of possibility that McIntyre wrestles his final match at WrestleMania 40 and takes a break to ponder his next move, which could include jumping ship to AEW, where several other former WWE champions have found a home. For context, the 2024 Royal Rumble pay-per-view includes Roman Reigns, Logan Paul, Bobby Lashley, Asuka, Randy Orton, Becky Lynch, Cody Rhodes, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, all four members of the Judgment Day, LA Knight, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Main Event Jey Uso, Io Sky, AJ Styles, Gunther, and lastly, the returning CM Punk. Like some other notably, exclusion include Kevin Owens, Bayley, and the 2018 Royal Rumble winner Shinsuke Nakamura. And what do you think about WWE not joining? Not being joining the other wrestlers on this list of the participants on the Royal Rumble, like not being at the Royal Rumble. And according to this article, it could be a sign that he could leave WWE and take a break and go back home with his family. And it said recently his wife's sister sadly passed away, passed away, and he wants to be there with his wife more often for be there more often with his wife and spend more time over in his hometown. In not hometown, in his home country. Yeah, wait, and after that, rumor has it, like, if he doesn't come back to WWE, he could possibly go to AEW. But wait, but but when he does go take a break and spend time with his family, like, do you think he's gonna go back to? Is he gonna go back to WWE, or is he gonna think AEW is gonna be a better fit for him at the time by the time of 2024? Sound off in the comments. And we got several names reportedly being considered for Roman Reigns at WWE Royal Rumble as the Tribal Chief's opponent. Roman Reigns' most recent defense of the undisputed WWE Universal Championship came on November 4th when he defeated LA Knight at Crown Jewel. Reigns is now being advertised for 3 upcoming WWE SmackDown events leading into the Royal Rumble next month. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, a few names are being considered for Reigns' opponent at that upcoming premium live event. One is Randy Orton, who returned to action this past weekend at WWE Survivor Series War Games. The Viper, who had been out with an injury since May of 2022, following an attack by the Bloodline, successfully teamed up with Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Seth freaking Rollins against Drew McIntyre and Judgment Day's Damian Priest, Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio in a War Games match. He defeated Mysterio in a singles match. In the singles match action, two nights later on Raw, on the post-show Raw, 2 other wrestlers who, on paper, according to one, are likely being considered are Knight and Kevin Owens. However, the report mentions that Knight was supposed to go in another direction as of last week. Meanwhile, Owens has been feuding with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Since recently switching from Raw to SmackDown, Owens, who has a deep-rooted history with the Bloodline, previously recently changed reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at last year's Royal Rumble event. But who you think is going to face Roman Reigns at this for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship? Will it be Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, excuse me, LA Knight, AJ Styles, or even Bobby Lashley? And last night, Randy Orton recently signed a SmackDown contract to make him officially a blue brand member of WWE's roster page. And he's going to go after the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, which I believe he'll be likely, if not Roman Reigns' next appearance on SmackDown, which I'm not sure about that. I would say the Royal Rumble will be likely, uh, the more likely, uh, the more likely match, like for both Tribal Chief and the Viper to get his revenge on the Bloodline, but not by getting it by Jey Uso. Okay, next up we got some more Bryan Danielson news. I confirmed a confirmed role on AEW. The disciplinary committee that fired CM Punk last week. A report suggests that Bryan Danielson was part of AEW disciplinary uh, com- committee that recommended the firing of CM Punk after his backstage altercation with Jack Perry. The report noted that the committee included Brian, with Brian, AEW General Counsel Chris Peck, and unnamed outside attorney, and their ruling was to get rid of the Second City Savior for his actions at All In. Now, Danielson himself has confirmed his involvement in Punk's firing. According on to Maggie and Perloff, the Maggie and Perloff podcast, Danielson confirmed it and said, "Yeah, I'm a part of the disciplinary committee." Danielson said. What happened has happened. I'm somebody who I like Punk. I think he brought a lot to AEW while he was there, but there's not a lot I can say about it or that I want to say about it. But yes, I am a part of it, Danielson. A part of it. Danielson, however, shot down the notion. He 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 spearheaded the the process. Some people say I say some people said I was the head of the disciplinary committee, and I'm like, listen, there were more than three people involved in this decision, but most of them were all lawyers and lawyers. To say that I was the head, I don't even have a college degree. While he laughed, I'm I'm not there bossing people around or any or anything like that. When asked if was difficult decision to fire Punk, considering that the storied history spanning decades. Danielson responded with an with an emphat with an emphatic absolutely before wishing his own friend well in his in his return to WWE. He said, "I have a lot of empath have empathy," Danielson said. "I'm grateful for the time he was able to spend in AEW. He he did a great job for us. I wish him the best in his future and hope his run in WWE goes well." According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, AEW CEO Tony Khan made the final call to fire Punk after consulting with different sets of people, including the aforementioned committee. What do you think about Brian Danielson? Maybe some of the part of the reason why the reason of letting go CM Punk, but it was mostly lawyers and and the CEO of AEW himself, Tony Khan, uh, making the final decisions. And what do you think about Brian Danielson? Still don't have no issues with Punk because he did anything of him, of course. Y'all sound off in the comments below about this story. It was more likely he was in a feud with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Let's move on to the next news now, and it is a report on change in Adam Pearce's backstage role with WWE. Adam Pearce has done multiple hats for WWE over the past few years. As an on-screen authority figure, backstage producer, and trainer, besides serving as the company director of live events of as of late. However, Pierce is reportedly producing matches only for the WWE Raw brand, and a change that was implement, im, implemented after his on-screen promotion to Raw general manager, according to Raw general manager. According to Fightful Select, the change in Pierce's role is a reflection of his new on-screen role, and the working plan is for him to produce matches only for Raw going forward. However, the report added there would always be exceptions to the rule. Last night's SmackDown, for an example, Pierce appeared in the segment with SmackDown GM Nick Aldis and Randy Orton, with hopes re- of recruiting the Viper to his brand. Ultimately, Orton chose to sign with SmackDown on the account of his unfinished business with the his with the bloodline. It's unknown if Pierce played a part in producing the segment. Previously, Pierce was routinely was routinely uh, involved in producing matches for all three of WWE's weekly televised shows. Fightful's reported that I added that the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion has long gained praise from talent and staff alike for forming quality work both backstage and on screen. Pierce and Aldis were named GMs of their respective brands by Triple H on the October 13th episode of Friday Night SmackDown. Since then, Aldis, like Pierce, has double double up as a backstage producer and on-screen authority figure for WWE. And what do you what do you think about Adam Pearce now reflecting as backstage producer for only Raw shows now, now for the fact that he's just a anyway for the fact that he's a general manager on Monday Night Raw now. Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to the to some AEW news with the AEW World Champion MJF gets surgery and thinks he can work smoke and mirrors like matches. MJF is currently dealing with two significant injuries, a torn labrum and his dislocated hip. But the AEW World Champion reportedly plans to work through the pain. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, MJF won't be getting surgery to fix either injury and it will instead be undergoing going stem cell therapy and rehab to get ready for his title defense against Samoa Joe at World's End. The 27-year-old reportedly opted against surgery as going under the knife would put him on the shelf for a couple of months. It's like it's presently unknown if MJF plans to work any more matches before his clash against Joe. But one noted MJF before he can he can deliver like careful like matches or smoke and mirrors like matches in the lead up to AEW last pay-per-view of 2023. This injury isn't new to MJF as he worked through a torn labrum at Double or Nothing 2020 where he wrestled Jack Perry in a critically acclaimed match between two of AEW's four pillars. However, the tear he's dealing with currently is said to be worse than his previous one. MJF announced the news of his shoulder injury via X, informing fans and MRI revealed that he had suffered a torn labrum in his left shoulder, according to Dave Meltzer. MJF suffered the tear while on the receiving end of a top rope uh, you like you range of uh, like a top rope Uranage from Jay White at Full Gear. Aggressive, I mean, aggravating, or should I say aggravating his already injured shoulder in the process. As for the hip injury, MJF got hurt while delivering an elbow drop off the top rope to White on the floor. The the original in, intent was for White to be placed on the announced table rather than the floor, which is also where on the floor. The original intent was for White to be placed on the announced table, rather than the floor, which would have broken MJF's fall, but the table collapsed prematurely. MJF disclosed his hip dislocated. MJF dislocated his hip later in the match, and since then, sources say that his swelling has subsided, but he continues to deal with the pain. But what do you think about MJF not getting surgery for the injury, for the fact that he could possibly be out of the ring in case of any risk of being out of the ring for the next 2 months, and also what do you and do you think rehab will be the better option anyways at this time for the fact that he still has to defend the AEW World Champion against the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to AEW Swerve Strickland news as he opens up about Prince Nana's dance, which we're gonna see the reveal of his dance. Prince Nana has increasingly become a popular member of the AEW roster, with the Mogul Embassy manager bringing the vibes with him to the ring. Like his unique dancing antics, this dancing antics of departure from the seriousness of Swerve Strickland's presentation. But together, the combination has proved to be impactful. When while speaking to Insight with while speaking to Chris While speaking to Chris Van Vliet on his Insight podcast, uh, Swerve Strickland confessed this by noting, when I watched when I watched it back on Twitter, and then people are like, really, like really making traction, and I was like, oh, this is funny. He like he he told. I mean, like, it was very funny. Like, I like the one time, like, when I had the match with Hangman at Wrestle Dream. I did I did the on stomp on the apron, and stomp on the apron, and I like and I uh, sewed into the the guard the guardrail. Like, I sewed into the guardrail, and Nana just zooms past me doing this real. I was like, really fat. And I'll say, and Prince Nana just zooms past me doing this really fast. Strickland, very fast. Strickland believes that then become a thing which Nana has continued to do around the ring during Strickland's matches. He even busted out his dance moves during Strickland's recent death match, like showing showcasing there's no occasion he's not willing to dance. Some Something Strickland finds hilarious. And same with me and my sister too. Like, every time we see Prince Nana do that dance when he enters the ring with Swerve Strickland. But anyway, but he also says, there's no way I could have told him to do this. Like, you make sure you do this. Like Swerve Strickland said, there's no way, and no way, and that's one of the things that like, he's so loose because I'm so loose, and I'm so loose, like, and he's so loose, which I'm not sure if that makes any sense, but according to his interview, but he said this right here, like, uh, while like while dancing around the ring, like, isn't something fans would typically associate with a heel, like with a heel character, of course. Strickland didn't want the traditional behavior from Prince Nana. Like, instead, he wanted his manager to be himself, and fans are finding out what that is. In fact, Nana's act got so popular, he even got a dance routine entrance with back with backup dancers at full gear. At full gear. Mhm. I should say, let me rephrase. But anyways, who are who are you, like Swerve Strickland also says, who are you as a person? Like, that's going to bleed through, no matter what people are going to understand what you are. I agree on that with Swerve Strickland, because like, yeah, that's what makes you a very successful for you, for yourself, as a person of a desire that you want to do. And then if you're trying to go after something, and you working working hard of catching the dream or the desire that you want to have, you're gonna eventually gonna you're gonna achieve it, and you're gonna thrive off of it. Like that's my opinion on it, of course. But he also says who you are, like your motive, like your feelings, like towards like this your purpose. If you just be the person you are, said Strickland, that's what I like to just be. But yeah, it looks like Swerve Strickland saw something that Prince Nana can offer on to the table with his character of being his manager, and he noticed that this was the number one thing he was good at is doing that dance. Like while entering the ring with him, like while listening to Swerve Strickland's entrance music, saying, "And I swear, and I drive," which he does that dance very well. Like, dude, there's like which is very hilarious and entertaining. I gotta admit, like, even though he looks a bit too silly, I think he's being himself. Like, I gotta hand it to him. He's doing being himself, and he's making a name for himself by being recognized, being known as the guy that does that dance, like that entertains the audience. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about this, like about this confession of Swerve Strickland of the reason why Prince Nana does this dance every single week when he enters the ring. Like when every time he enters, when every time he has a match scheduled in for an AEW Dynamite. I want y'all to be the judge of that in the comments down below. We got some Declan McMahon news. Names favorite WWE wrestlers other than his father, Shane McMahon. Declan McMahon, the son of Shane McMahon, might currently be heading down to the path of playing football rather than getting into the family business. But that doesn't mean he didn't grow up as a fan of professional wrestling. While his father was naturally his favorite WWE superstar, he also appreciated one one of one of his iconic rivals, The Undertaker. Was in he's saying The Undertaker was an amazing was was in was amazing, like said when McMahon, when he told Jim Barcelona, like obviously they had a bunch of great matches. I always say The Undertaker, John Cena, obviously he's just a larger than life superstars. So I would say those two in particular. Another name that McMahon was a fan of, also like had a major rivalry with not just his father but the entire McMahon family, and that's none other than Randy Orton himself. It isn't just because of the in-ring aspect of Orton and Undertaker's career that he is a fan, much like his own father, like who's who's whose career career highlight like was was walking out out at WrestleMania with his father, his sons. They are family men, and just and they are family men. Like in, like just in just us, in just the sense of what he's done for the business. Like he said, and he also and Declan McMahon also said this, like just in the sense of what he's done for the business, and also what they done as family men. He said, like Randy and Mr. Calloway, it's all always family first. I know Randy has his boys, and Undertaker has his daughter, and you see these guys on TV, and they are than large than life, but deep down they are just such great parents, and such great role models as well. Orton recently returned to WWE, and McMahon will have have been happy to see that, as he grew up as a fan of the Viper, even though Randy tormented Declan's family in 2009. Like, yeah, like, of course he did, like with his father, his auntie, and his grandfather, like into the storyline with Orton against the McMahon family on the road to WrestleMania. And what do you think about looking up to the Undertaker and Randy Orton as role models in the business of the business? Like, even though like Randy Orton tormented like in the past from nearly 15 years ago, but it seemed like he doesn't care. Like he like he was a fan of him because because he was bringing that star power and stardom into the WWE business along with the Undertaker. And and then yeah, and then he walked down there with his father and brothers, like when Shane McMahon had a match with the Dead Man for in in at WrestleMania at WrestleMania 32 in 2016. And yeah, and he also said he's a big fan of John Cena, obviously, like all those John Cena diehard fans, including me right here, like being a fan of the 16-time world champion. Like, who wouldn't be unless you're a Cena hater? But what do you think about them being role models and and him being a fan of these guys while being a pro wrestling fan for the past decade, and being and saying that they're role models and they may be big, looking like big mean guys in the squared circle, but they're really loving uh, family guys, like very loving father for their fathers and husbands for their respective wife and kids. But let's move on to the next wrestling news, and it is Eric Bischoff details his aim in WCW association with Disney. I one of the like one of the many notable things about Eric Bischoff's first few years running WCW in the early 90s was the promotion's frequent show held at the Disney MGM studio in, in Orlando, Florida. The taping had had historically become known for helping WCW save money in those early years. At a time when WCW found themselves several million dollars in the role, but as Bischoff revealed on the most recent episode of his 83 weeks podcast, that that wasn't the only reason WCW ran at uh, Disney Disney MGM. He said, if you go back and look at some of those significant shows, uh, it it had some real interesting limit limit limitation on what WCW would do the the park, like it, especially like in the very beginning before said, but one of the like things we could do is there there was this stock of footage of of a fl- of a flyover of the Disney MGM studio, like not the entire park, but the studio. And there was a water tower like there that had Mickey Mouse ears like on it, Mickey Mouse ears on it. That was part of our open. Bischoff used those shows to help market the WCW product to various other parties in other held grow the promotion. He also and he continued to say this, and I wanted to establish to advertise it, the advertisers and potential sponsors and even independent television stations that we were or syndicating our show to that this was different, just wrestling event, and even different than WWF at the time, because there was sub a subtool a core a co a co-promotion with Disney slash MGM Studios. I wanted to leverage the success, the commercial success of Disney. I wanted to leverage that, get and get as much as of a rub as I could for WCW, because it was my belief at the time, and I think it proved to be true. It was my belief at the time that that sub that sub that subtle connection to Disney changed the WWE advertisers looked at us, and potential syndicated partner looked at us. And what do you think about Eric Bischoff doing this just to get some more fans watching WCW, like with him flying over Walt Disney World, I believe he said, just to get some just to get some more fans to watch WCW. Y'all sound off in the comments below. But I think it sounds insanely interesting if you ask me. Like I would do something like that. Go to very popular venues and locations like where everybody is at, and then show off my advertisements of a sign of something that I'm doing. Like for an example, like if I've been like if my SNA podcast gets more popular, I would, and if I start start to make some merchandise, and then have a sign that says the sign that would have the SNA podcast. Like make sure you watch at Super Ninja Austin 213. Like I would do something like that too, just to get more viewers to watch my videos on my YouTube channel. So I wouldn't really blame or let alone even judge like Eric Bischoff for doing that for WCW. He had to do what he got to do, and I would say maybe some of it worked in a way, like for fans watching the wrestling product at the time, just like just for to have fans watching like just as much as WWE's uh uh fan base uh fan base in their company. Okay, we got some Matt Hardy news now as he predicts winner of AEW Continental Classic. As as the AEW Continental Classic uh, continues to heat up, Matt Hardy has revealed who he foresees winning the tournament, like with one with one potential victor being a newcomer to AEW. He said, "This is what he had to say who could who that's on his prediction list." He said, "Yeah, I could see Swerve," like said Hardy, like on this Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast. Yeah, on Extreme Life podcast, he said this. Yeah, I could see Swerve. I could see Jay White winning. I think Jay White could use that win too. Swerve could use that win. That that's a great scenario. Despite having uh, despite having doubts, Hardy another did have another name in mind whom he'd like to see whom to see crowned as the winner. As the winner, he the winner, like he said this, like Daniel Garcia, the former Ring of Honor Pure Champion, and he continued saying, "I would love to see Danny win it. I don't think he's at that point right now where he will win it, but I think Swerve and Jay White would probably be my two favorite picks." The Continental Classic was announced by AEW CEO Tony Khan earlier this month. It was later revealed that the winner the winner would become the inaugural Continental champion, a championship merging the Ring of Honor World Champion and the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion both currently held by Eddie Kingston, that he put on the line while he's on the Blue League. Um, Trying to win this tournament, try to get more wins so he can make it to the finals, which I predicted that he could be in the end of the finals. Kingston, who is in the league, the Blue League in the competition, will go 1-on-1 with Brian Danielson tonight on AEW Collision, which I'm gonna review it after I get done. Not I get done. After I get done watching after watching AEW's full. Not full. AEW's AEW Collision tonight, but I'm gonna talk. But yeah, I'm gonna continue with which I'm gonna make. I'm gonna say which I'm gonna talk about and make a review on part 16 of the Collision review, episode 155. Make sure y'all check that out. Claudio Castagnoli will square off against Eddie Kingston. Not Eddie King, Brody King. While Andrade El Idolo will face Daniel Garcia on this week's Collision. On the other side of the bracket, in the gold league, John Moxley, Roosh, and Swerve Strickland each earned themselves 3 points on this past Wednesday night on Dynamite, which I recapped that a couple of days ago. Make sure y'all check that out. This past Wednesday, after defeating Jay Lethal, Mark Briscoe, and J.J. White, respectively. And who's your prediction? My prediction's either Eddie Kingston, Roosh, or even Jay White. Excuse me, Jay White. Which I would say in the finals, we could see Jay White winning the Golden Leagues. Even though he's doing a little catching up behind, but I think he can come back, win the finals, beat somebody that's probably on top, like a John Moxley or Swerve Strickland, bounce back and face Eddie Kingston. We'll see either of these men being a Triple Crown Continental Champion, with the AEW Continental Championship, the Ring of Honor World Championship, and the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship, being Triple Crown champions, being champions from 3 different promotions, which 2 that Tony Khan owns, which is AEW and Ring of Honor, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, for the fact that he's partnering with them. But I'm with y'all. I'll give y'all the prediction on who's going to win the match in the comments down below. We got some Johnny Gargano news that breaks down evolution of DIY tag team with Tommaso Ciampa since WWE NXT. After a surprising return in October, Johnny Gargano has been making waves in the tag team scene. With Tommaso Ciampa, their team is DIY, was most recent seen eliminating Alpha Academy and Indus Sher in a tag team turmoil match on WWE Raw. Despite being eliminated by the Creed brothers, DIY currently been well received overall. During an interview on the Battleground podcast, Johnny Gargano recounted the 8-year story of DIY and how his history with Ciampa affects him today. Johnny said, "Me and Tommaso started in NXT last 8 years ago, and at this point, and our goal, we always talk about it." Gargano recounted, We love our run in NXT. We wanted to stay there like forever. Much of DIY uh, prestige comes from their dis- distinguished time in NXT. Like, NXT, Gargano is a former NXT champion, a three-time former NXT North American champion, and the first time being a Triple Crown champion of the brand. Ciampa is also a two-time NXT champion, while paired together are former NXT Tag Team Champions by teaming with Johnny Gargano. By the by the time Ciampa and Gargano made their way to the main roster, fans were clamoring for a DIY reunion in a return to greatness. Both men for both men, and Johnny Gargano uh, finish up saying, "We we always talk about what would happen what would happen if DIY was on Monday Night Raw, and a lot of fans wanted that too." Gargano said, "We've we had our ups and downs throughout the years, but but it has it has ultimately brought us closer together, and I don't think that there is a tag team or or a or a unit or a unit that has gone through what me and Tommaso have, both on screen and off screen. We are closer than we've ever been, and we're excited to show the world what we're capable of." What do you think about Johnny Gargano comments on this interview about DIY, like finally making their main roster debut, and they wanted to do this forever, which they said it plenty of times before, like even on the show. Like, so yeah, I figured that they'll be like mainstays of NXT. I thought they'll probably be on there forever, but no, like they eventually got called to be on the Monday Night Raw brand, which they still are since 2022, except separately, like because Tommaso Ciampa made his debut like after WrestleMania, like by being a henchman lackey of The Miz, and Johnny Gargano took a break in WWE and wrestling entirely, like by because his because his wife gave birth to their newborn son, like which later on, like a few months later, you see them making their WWE return, and they've been on Monday Night Raw ever since. And do you think that DIY is going to finally become the tag team champions in WWE now? They're on the main roster. Give your opinions in the comments, and only time will tell. It's only a matter of time. We got some Jeff Jarrett news now as he recalls storyline he feels stretched credibility, and like Jeff Jarrett has been party to more than his fair share of controversial moments in wrestling throughout his career, especially as a part of WWE's Attitude Era. As such, it takes a lot for Jarrett to consider something a little too over the top from that time period. However, there was one angle involving Undertaker and Stone Cold Steve Austin uh, uh, then that he believes was a bit much. Speaking on the latest episode of My Word, Jared talked in depth in depth in depth in depth about in depth the angle which saw Undertaker and his manager Paul Bearer attempt to embalm in embalm like Austin in a funeral home. Uh, embalm Stone Cold Steve Austin in a funeral home before Austin was recruit by Kane. And Jared said, when you know, when you get down to the level embalming Stone Cold, it's just kind of stretching the limits and kind of I just think getting way out of bounds, way out of bounds. Jared said for the November 1998 angle, I think the magic of Stone Cold and Mr. McMahon was was the whole the whole world knew that Vince owned the WWF, and so where's the real boss? And he's a New Yorker, and I wouldn't say pump pompous pompous and in a in a in a rogue in a wrong a wrongest a wrong a wrongest wrongant a wrongant a wrongant because he was playing uh playing the play by play character and everything that he went it with it like when he became the evil Mr. McMahon. Like Jared continued, and he had the hardworking collar, blue collar beer drinking dude Stone Cold. Like everything could like that's like a Stone Cold. Everybody could actually relate to that. You could just live there vicar vicariously through both characters. When you get into the embalm the embalming of Undertaker and Stone Cold, you just kind of lost that sense of reality. And what do you think about Jeff Jarrett's opinion from the Attitude Era back 25 years ago on how it was in and out of the ring? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to the next news. It's Mandy Rose recalls losing her confidence and not clicking with Bellas in WWE. Mandy was a cast member of season 5 Total Divas, like while recently discussing her time on the reality show on her Power Alphas podcast. Rose opened up about losing her confidence following filming in Paris, France. She claimed that after scenes where shot for episode 13 and 14, she called her ex-boyfriend in tears and told him that the series wasn't for her. The series wasn't for her. Rose issued cert, sent, issued centered around the rest of the cast, not wanting to hang out with her and feeling that Total Divas was more real life than a television show. And Rose said, "How?" And she noted, however, I mean, well, no, I'm looking at the wrong. However, she also explained that being referred to as the next big thing in WWE put her under her immense pressure after uh, gaining belief in herself by becoming a runner up on season 6 of Tough Enough. The former NXT Women's Champion's confidence took a hit after the Paris trip, and Rose mentioned that she struggled to form any significant bond with the vast majority of the of the reason raw of the season's roster, like including both Bellas. She said, "I felt like because the Bellas were the big thing and they the had the most time in there and they had a big presence like but about them." Rose said, "Like I felt like everyone was kind of always trying to please the Bellas, the girls, and I was trying to please them too, but I don't think they liked me too much in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie, I get along with them. I get along with them now. Great. I get along with them great now. I love them, and I have so much respect to for them." And what do you think about Mandy Rose? Just more of her confessions about her time in Total Divas and her time in WWE, like of her trying to please the Bellas and make them like her, but like she didn't have to do all that just to make her to get the attention of the Bellas and for also for them to like her and be cool with her now and yeah, now it's very great that they have a very great friendship, I should say. They have a really have a very have a really great and really tremendous friendship, I should say, fantastic friendship, even I should say, into this current time. And what do you think about this coming out of Mandy Rose's mouth on her on her Power Alpha podcast? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. We're gonna move on to up next. We got the WWE star The Miz addresses idea of working NXT talent. Throughout 2023, main roster star heading to WWE NXT for a storyline, one off matches, and in some cases full time runs has become a common have been been a very common occurrence. It has allowed ratings to rise while providing experience to the younger stars. But one name that has yet to make a visit on the black and gold brand is The Miz. However, that doesn't mean he isn't open to the idea down the line. Like why? Like by saying this on the TNT Sports, on this TNT Sports interview, the A-lister had this to say to them: like, watch NXT. Like, I'll work with any of them. All of them seem to have the talent, the drive, the ability, and I can't wait to for them to get to Raw or SmackDown. One name, one name that the A-lister has his eye on is former NXT champion Braun Breaker. He has been frequent frequently pushed on frequently pushed on developmental brand. Like even working against main roster stars such as Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz thinks like that he is doing a phenomenal job. Breaker is someone that fans have felt could be in line for a main roster push at some stage, but he wasn't disappointed to be drafted earlier this year, and his heel run is now giving him more opportunities to learn. And The Miz continued by saying, "We will, we will see what they have a have a have a what they've got." Miz said, but right now watching NXT, it's like, oh man, these guys and girls are obviously incredible, and they're doing a remarkable job, and should continue to keep working, keep pushing, and keep studying. And what do you think about the Miz being willing of joining NXT like in the near future and facing the likes of Braun Breaker, and even maybe even wrestle him in the main roster? I'll say it could happen anytime soon though. Like with him being on NXT, like probably anytime after NXT Deadline, which that's a week from today, like next Saturday. And And do you think that The Miz will go down to NXT for a one-off to be in the program with Braun Breaker and perhaps boost more ratings? And for the fact that, and considering that The Miz just recently turned babyface and Braun Breaker's been killing it as a heel, even though he lost the championship to Carmelo Hayes back in April. But for the past 8 months, he's been killing it as the monstrous and the most merciless heel that he can play, especially being doing an on-screen job by slamming the steel steps on the Von Wagner's head. But even though Von Wagner eventually got revenge and hit Braun Breaker with a jackknife powerbomb right through the table to get his revenge known to him. But I can see that happening. I would say it will probably be good for the NXT brand and for the ratings, and they'll be showing that it's a third brand, even though it's developmental. But it would show that the A-lister will still have something to offer for WWE by giving to the NXT roster of giving dream matches and giving someone like a Braun Breaker a run for its money, and get and then they'll have an opportunity that and they'll have an opportunity that they'll never soon to forget, like when they are getting ready to get called up to the main roster. and then be in incredible matches with a main roster wrestler. And they can add that more into their resume as soon as they get to WWE on Raw or SmackDown, of course, on the WWE's Raw or SmackDown show. Yeah, but yeah, only time will tell. And we're gonna have to see what's gonna happen next with the A-lister, like in that scenario. And we're gonna end today's video with some Randy Orton news, and he officially joined WWE SmackDown roster. Kicks off a feud with the Bloodline. Kick off a feud with the Bloodline and settle some unfinished and handle some unfinished business with him. CM Punk might be a free agent like within WWE, but other other man like who returned at WWE Survivor Series is none other than the Apex Predator, aka the Viper, Randy Orton. Has made his decisions in the main event segment of Friday's WWE SmackDown. Orton accepted SmackDown GM Nick Aldis' offer to become an official member of the Blue Brand, even giving Aldis an RKO afterwards, like as if to seal the deal. Orton signing the SmackDown contract was the culmination the culmination of a segment that saw both Aldis and his WWE Raw uh, Adam Pearce like make in-ring pleas like to retain Orton's service with Pierce offering Orton a guaranteed World Heavyweight Championship match, while Aldis offered him revenge. To this point, Paul Heyman interrupted, intending for Bloodline members like Jimmy Uso, which this article accidentally put in Jay Uso instead, but it's actually Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa to dim de- to to demolish Orton like before he could sign anything. In reality, Heyman just seemed to make Orton's choice easier after L.A. Knight come down to even the odds and fought off Solo Sikoa. Randy Orton hitting and delivering an RKO onto Jimmy Uso before eagerly putting pen to paper and telling Heyman inform his tribal chief that Daddy's home. Orton immediately resuming his feud with the Bloodline not only makes storyline sense, he was reportedly in line for a match against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam 2022 before being put on the shelf, like a spot that was eventually filled by Brock Lesnar. Like it also lines up with recent reporting, which has suggests that Orton is on the short list for Reigns' opponent at the 2024 Survivor. I mean, that's a Royal Rumble. I mean. And what do you think about this Randy Orton officially being a SmackDown wrestler and gonna face Roman Reigns at at the Royal Rumble event at next month's pay-per-view on the road to WrestleMania? Y'all let me know down in the comments below, and will he fully get his revenge and set the score on unfinished business with the Bloodline and taking Roman Reigns' undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Leave y'all's opinions in the comments down below. And that was your list of the wrestling news for today on the Wrestling Inc. From the Wrestling Inc. article for the daily wrestling news video for on today, December 2nd, 2023. And what's one was your favorite out of this list? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. And which one was what was your favorite on this list? Let me know in the comments down below. And hopefully you guys like this video. And this was your today's wrestling news video of 130. I mean not 130, 154th episode of the SNA podcast, episode 154 of the wrestling news, daily wrestling news video of the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors that you SNA fans need to know, and from the Wrestling Inc. article, and please, if you like this video, please hit the big thumbs up button and comment down below and click on that subscribe button and click the bell notification. It's free, and then you can change your mind later, guaranteed. If you want to, of course, and share it with your friends all over social media. And I'll be doing my later on be doing the AEW Collision review, which we're going to be talking about the we're going to be talking about the latest of what went down on tonight's AEW Collision, especially on the Blue League's side of the tournament of the Continental Classic, which we're gonna see who's gonna win that, and we're gonna recap it, and we're gonna what I'm gonna rank it onto tonight's video. Make sure you check that out, and also I won't be doing a wrestling news video until Monday because I have some family business to take care of on Sunday. So so I'm probably going to take the day off of doing the daily wrestling news. So just to give you a heads up, what's going to happen, on Sunday, which there's not going to be no wrestling news video, unfortunately. So I'm apologize in advance for that. But make sure y'all check out on Monday, which will be Wrestling News Part 57 of the SNA Podcast, episode 156. But I've been your host, Super Ninja Austin. This was the latest episode, and I'll see you all on to the next episode on the AEW Collision video. Until we meet again, Super Ninja Austin, the assassin, is out. Bye-bye, my SNA fans.